Welcome back to JB Reviews. I have a 2023 GMC Canyon and we're gonna drive this truck today. We're gonna see 0 to 60 and MPG. Special shout out to Seiner. I did a full walk around on the truck if you would like to go back and watch that video, but today we're just gonna drive it and get my impressions on how well it handles and how it performs on the highway. Let's get into it. Now I must admit something. I had no idea how to reset the trip 1 for this truck. Like, it's actually kind of hidden, and I may have to do like a short video on this infotainment because it's actually a lot different from anything I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But we're gonna go ahead and do the 0 to 60 here and we're gonna see how it's gonna do. Now I did a video on the Ford Ranger and the very first thing I said and noticed in that video is how easy this is to maneuver in a parking lot, park it. For some people, it doesn't sit too high, and others it doesn't sit too low. It's like just right for most people, I think. And hey, you can probably tow a small trailer and put something in the back of the bed that's really tall that you can't put in an SUV. Now, normally at this point in the video, I've already shown you the 0 to 60, but this thing is junk. Do not buy a draggy. I rarely speak negative about something. This thing is the worst investment. I pray before I ever use this thing because I don't know what I'm gonna get. It's terrible. So hopefully I can show you guys the 0 to 60. If not, then I'll just have to just show it to you here, you know. So we're just gonna cruise along here, and then once we come back the opposite direction, maybe I'll do a 0 to 60. But I'll try to get it to work, but I don't think it's gonna work today. I think it's gonna be a baby. So don't buy a draggy. But nevertheless, I'm on the highway, and this thing is very, very easy to drive. I mean, it feels like a car. I think it's a little bit more comfortable than a Ford Ranger. And this does have 20-inch wheels. The ones I test driven had 17 and 18s. But yeah, it has radar cruise control. You have cooled seats, which work great, by the way. And these seats might be softer than the HD trucks, which is not a good thing. I mean, this is actually a little bit more comfortable, I think. The only thing is, it does feel tight. So if you're used to driving a full-size pickup or even an HD, you're gonna notice the size difference. But let's see what it gets on fuel economy, because I think that's the most important aspect of this mid-size Canyon. Now, something else that might take some getting used to is how low the mirrors sit. I just noticed that on the passenger side is a little bit worse, but these do sit kind of low. And I do have the seat all the way down too, just to give you reference. Visibility out the front window is really good. And I would say out the back it's pretty good too. Now those headrests can go down if nobody's sitting back there. And what I'll do next is I'm gonna turn off the camera for a second, but I'm gonna show you guys some of the RPMs at certain speeds. So like at about 60 miles an hour, I'm pretty sure we're in 8th gear. And we're at like 1500 RPMs. That's pretty darn good. Now here's what 70 miles an hour looks like. Yeah, I mean, we're at a low RPM. We're just above 70 miles an hour. And I believe this has, what is that, like a 342 rear. That's like GM's favorite axle ratio, by the way. And by the way, this does have lane keep assist too. So it does kind of steer you back into your lane if you do kind of deviate. My HD truck doesn't even have that, which is surprising actually. Although I don't really care about these types of systems because they can become a little annoying. But we're almost to the midpoint, and I'll check in with you guys on the fuel economy so you guys can see what it is. It's abnormally high because we have not done an acceleration yet, but we are sitting in traffic a little bit more because it's almost 5 o'clock. It's like 4:10, so yeah. But hopefully I can do a 0 to 60 here in a second so you guys can see how this performs. So we're at the midpoint. We're at 21 MPG. If you don't remember, the sticker was 21 on the highway, 17 in the city. But I think I got the draggy to work, so we're gonna go ahead and do a 0 to 60 launch. I'll try to get up to about 70, 75 miles an hour maybe, and then I'll pull back. Now I did mention in the last video that this was kind of like a mini diesel, and that's because it's pretty overbuilt. It's gonna have 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, made it to an 8-speed transmission. Now, let's see how that looks in 0 to 60. All right, here we go. not bad. 0 to 60 in 8.48 seconds. Is that what I saw? I think that's what I saw. Yeah, 8.48. I believe that the Ford Tremor and the XLT did worse. 0 to 60, I think. And then 0 to 30 was about 3 seconds or so. I mean, so yeah, I mean, even though this truck is not that heavy and it has 430 pound-feet of torque, we are above elevation. Now, some people do say that forced induction engines do not suffer from horsepower loss with the higher elevation. We're probably about 4,000 or so. Actually, I think the truck tells us. Maybe it doesn't. But yeah, we're definitely pretty high above elevation. We're like 4,800 feet or something like that. So 0 to 60 in 8.48 seconds. I would say that's pretty decent for something like this. And of course, this truck is new, so you know, the 0 to 60 could be affected by that. But let's go ahead and see how loud it is inside of the interior. I do have my decibel reader so we can kind of get an idea. It's about 66. A little bit louder by the window, 70. About 66, 67 out back. So it's definitely louder inside of here. We're going 75 miles an hour. Let's see if I can get up to 80 so you guys can see the RPMs. Yeah, we're still under 2,000 RPM. So yeah, you can probably get, you know, 20 miles to the gallon, 22 in that ballpark pretty easily if you're just cruising on the highway. Now, I would probably say stick around like 75 or less, because that's where you're gonna get that better RPM range. But yeah, these tires, I didn't say it earlier, these tires are pretty quiet to be all-terrains. They're really good. I do like the suspension. It feels pretty tame too. Like, I mean, even though like this isn't like an off-road truck, it feels really smooth on the road, and that's with having 20-inch wheels too. Now here are the numbers for this Canyon and then the payload. So this truck basically weighs 4,993 pounds. And there's also a 22-inch wheel you can get with this configuration too. Brakes are a little touchy. Like the initial bite, so you have to be like really soft at first when you hit the brakes. It's not as bad at the lower speeds, but at the higher speed just now, I felt a little bit of a jerk, and I didn't even hit it that hard. Let's see, I'm gonna try it one more time to get up to about 55. Yeah, right there. Oh yeah, they're touchy. Oh wow. You can probably almost see my hand moving too. Like, they're touchy. But it's not bad though. I think you just have to get used to it. But we're almost back. We gotta hit like 2 more lights. So we're at 18.2 MPG, driven 13 miles. Let's see where we end off at. So this is the ending point, 18 MPG, 13.8 miles driven. Now 18 MPG or 17.9, it's really 18 because that's where I ended off at. That is pretty darn good. That was probably some stop and go traffic. We did 4 or 5 stops and a 0 to 70, 0 to 80, somewhere in there. I can't remember where I pulled off at, but that is pretty good. 18 combined. The sticker says 19, and I think if you're on a little bit longer trip, you probably can get closer to 19, but that 0 to 60 really hurt the fuel economy, and that's because it's a turbocharged engine. Like, if you're gonna buy this truck, you have to really learn how to stay out of the turbo, and that's kind of keeping it under that 3,000 RPMs, and that's gonna really get you the better fuel economy. But the 0 to 60, I mean, I would say with 430 pound-feet of torque, I was kind of looking for a little bit more, but I'm still okay with that because, hey, I mean, this is not a speed racer here. You know, they haven't made this a engine for performance. It's really just there to help you if you're pulling a trailer, things like that. But I hope you guys liked the video. Special shout out to Jerry Seiner, Buick GMC here in South Jordan. If you are in the market, be sure to give these guys a look up, and I'll see you guys soon.